Boss tells View enough already. Dagan, according to the Daily Beast, Disney and ABC execs have told The View to tone down their Trump bashing because they're constantly doing it. Should they, though? I mean, isn't this their brand now? They got nothing left. If you take that away, what do they have?
After Disney's CEO vowed to end the company sooner than you can say ratings crisis, Greg Gutfeld went all out on The View. Imagine a roast so hot that Mickey Mouse might require a fire extinguisher. This drama is more entertaining than a theme. Parkin' turkey, so why did Disney get so upset? And how did Gutfeld convert that thread into a comedy gold stick?
The owner of ABC News and daytime talk show The View is now the subject of a new report claiming CEO Bob Iger is urging the show's host to tone down their criticism of President Donald Trump.
Always want us to be respectful and do the things and talk about the stuff we talk about. We can do all of that. But when you are blatantly giving the country the middle finger, that is blatant. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to take the plane.
Don't you think when he lets these white Africans in and claims that's giving the middle finger to the black community?
Disney, the mythical land of talking animals and mouse-eared empires, typically targets poorly performing cartoons or a film office failure with a computer-generated raccoon with father problems when it threatens to cancel. However, this time, the fairy wand was aimed directly at The View's screaming hands throughout the day.
Nothing. As if the show is some delightful chit-chat fest without the political talk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a lullaby and a shot of Dickel.
Yeah.
If they're not ripping on Trump. Here's Joy. She's going to share her feminine hygiene routine and tell you how to prevent your old tatas from going down and having a picnic with your belly button.
Indeed, the once holy circle of couch-bound pontificators slapped them across their collective Botoxed foreheads after pushing the envelope so hard that it flew back. Like a rogue churro in Disneyland, the news broke. The same corporate tycoons, who had essentially granted The View hosts PR immunity for years, abruptly changed their minds. It seems that the ratings magic is no longer being brought in by watching 5 professionally incensed ladies quarrel over whose celebrity should be canceled next.
That's like a cross between The View and Hee Haw. Except hoo-ha. Wow, that is pretty good, isn't it? It's hee-haw me too-haw. I don't know. Michelle, you okay, Michelle? At least somebody got it, even when I was thinking, and I go, does that make any sense?
Yes, it made perfect sense.
I who knew a daily teacup screen fest could be the centerpiece of a multi-billion-dollar media conglomerate and be spot on in strolls. Greg Gutfeld, the resident prankster on Fox News, seems to have made his career out of roast sessions with the accuracy of a Gordon Ramsay meltdown, except with food metaphors and more sarcasm. As if it were the Hindenburg of daytime television, bloated, burning, and full of hot air, Gutfeld took one glance at Disney's hint of threat and turned it into an open invitation to burn The View.
Lighten up, and this is what they did on the Qatar jet, or Qatar jet.
The United States has accepted the plane. Is going to
He has accepted the plane. The United States has not accepted the plane.
He representing the
He's not representing
us.
us.
The government. Why does he want it, do you think? Because he's the king? He wants to go around the world like the king?
It goes to him and his presidential library, so it becomes his plane.
But we all know that that's BS, okay? No. He's not giving that to his presidential library. He's going to take it, he's going to fly and use it. But he's not supposed to have it. I got the Constitution right here. He's not supposed to have the plane. Okay?
All right, my point, Michelle. If you take that away from them, I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
Like what it's like what Dagan said. There isn't any.
He didn't have to say it out loud. Naturally, the power of Gutfeld's parody resides in inference and insinuation, as well as a degree of side-eye so strong that it most likely calls for a sunscreen warning. Bringing the curtain down on a performance that has long since ceased pretending to be anything more than a televised group conversation with grandiose illusions, he virtually gift-wrapped the event with sparkling disdain. To be honest, The View has always taken pride in representing women. These women will continue to think in unison, despise the appropriate politicians, and take pleasure in the sound of their own moral superiority reverberating around the ABC studio. The View is similar to being trapped in a group therapy session where no one pays attention, everyone interrupts one another, and the therapists leave midway to appear on a reality show. After years of permitting the show's decline into a self-satisfied echo chamber of recycled talking points and secondhand Twitter indignation, what precisely set off the House of Mouse well? Disney executives have finally discovered something revolutionary. Screaming is not the same as substance. Not only was viewership declining, but it was also declining more quickly than the Marvel Phase 4 movie's plot logic. You know you have a problem when your core audience comprises people who unintentionally leave the TV on after morning cartoons.
I love what you said about wanting to entertain audiences, critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means, and one could argue that sometimes it's used too liberally. That said, our primary purpose is to entertain, and where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world, but the first thing we need to do is...
Never one to pass up the chance to poke fun at the swooping leftist media, Gutfeld pounced. He drew the scene as the Roman Colosseum of daytime programming, but instead of gladiators, there are overpaid hosts hurling passive-aggressive shade and Instagram cliches at one another, and in place of applauding audiences, there is only a courteous coughing sound coming from America as it slowly dies of second-hand humiliation. Gutfeld didn't stop at the building either. Like a sarcastic wrecking ball, he went after the cast. With every detail of a cheap Halloween costume, each host functioned as a living, breathing stereotype. There will always be the self-proclaimed scholar who believes that employing lofty language is correct. The eternal victim, whose only input consists of moral outrage and facial expressions. The previously famous person who entered from a different timeline and only offered perplexing statements and out-of-date anecdotes. The host, who attempts to be centrist but folds like a paper straw in a venti cappuccino, comes next. Disney's abrupt threat to discontinue the show seemed more like a long overdue act of kindness than corporate overreach. Gutfeld entered the frail moment of crisis like the ghost of common reason, eager to remind everyone that sometimes the most serious form of quality control is satire. Even the executives who authorized Pirates of the Caribbean 6 could see that something needed to happen.
What it reminds me of, Joey, is that it is a microcosm of the Democrat Party. If you look at The View, it's tightly wound and miserable, largely female, hallucinating and angry. Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Because, let's be honest, The View has turned into a self-parody, a weekly procession of theatrical anger masquerading as empowerment. Each episode serves as a masterclass in how to avoid talking about anything important. It's similar to watching 5 Yelp reviews quarrel over politics while losing track of the restaurant's name. You could almost hear the ABC PR machine's groaning gears as Gutfeld roasted from a distance, but this time, there was no justifying it. Not with Mickey Mouse. Side-eyeing the morning slot. There is a limit to how long you can conceal the ratings cliff until someone picks up a telescope and realizes the decline. Naturally, The View is more than just a spectacle. It's a brand. One that once dared to believe it influenced national. Dialogue now hardly influences talk during lunch breaks. The same talking points are repeated with a tax audit's zeal. The same manufactured arguments that are timed to commercial breaks as if they were opinion speed dating. Gutfeld did more than just
The View. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sun.
Furthermore, this is about performance, not politics. The Viewpoint doesn't inform, it emotes. It doesn't dispute, it states. It's not a panel for news. It's a lunchtime session where emotions take center stage and facts are ignored. Gutfeld didn't have to make up any details. The spectacle is self-evident. He didn't need a monologue, which is what really made his mocking land with surgical precision. Simply raise an eyebrow, point, and then roast it, because it feels like satire to describe a show when it becomes so predictable and ridiculous. Not to mention the ratings are the studio's biggest problem, declining more quickly than a scandal involving a TikTok trend post. Nowadays, audiences have options, and they are selecting just about anything else. When your format is stuck in 2009, it's difficult to compete with podcasts, streaming services, or even just staring at a blank wall. Meanwhile, those who are allergic to sanctimony are nonetheless drawn to Gutfeld's humorous first analysis. There is a lesson here. People want intelligent, witty, and incisive opinions, not loud tirades that resemble a group chat that no one wants to join. Despite this, The View continues to exist without realizing that it has devolved into the very caricature it once ridiculed. The nation's moral compass is a bloated panel of overtalkers who are all trying to outrage one another. However, the audience has drifted off, and the compass is spinning because the map is out of date.
You now speak the truth, and when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie, now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest.
However, at least you're a decent jerk. Greg Gutfeld is just the man with the scissors, laughing and reminding everyone that the Emperor's new clothes are made solely of recycled hashtags, while Disney considers its alternatives and finds itself hanging by a thread that has been dangling for years. Ultimately, the cruelest roast wasn't a joke. The collapsing foundation of a program too proud to change course and too lost to change was exposed by this spotlight. The View is humorous rather than controversial, and as Gutfeld demonstrated, sometimes all it takes to bring down a paper tiger is a well-placed joke and the patience to let it play itself out. Therefore, if this is the final season of The View, let it be remembered as a warning about what happens when substance is replaced by smugness and groupthink passes for wisdom. Additionally, Greg Gutfeld is most likely lifting a glass someplace in a Fox News studio, not in triumph, but more in amazement that it took Disney so long to realize that it was a requiem rather than merely a roast. We zoom out from The View's meltdown and pan across the smoldering wreckage of the entire liberal media landscape, where self-importance goes to die, and common sense checks itself out like it just saw.
The anti-aging drug for dogs has moved closer to gaining FDA approval. Customers are already waiting in line. No, it's nothing personal. We just save money using the same picture 3 times.
Disney's vow to discontinue The View wasn't the result of a renegade corporate memo. Indeed, The View is the screechiest velociraptor in the cage because of this. It was the media equivalent of a meteor hurtling into the dinosaur nest. The Viewpoint is not an anomaly. It is the epitome of a genre that believes that speaking louder than others somehow equates to moral authority, group thought is brave sanctimony, and captivating entertainment. Every debate is presented as the moral successor to World War II in this similar environment, where credibility is given based on how angry you appear when someone says free speech. Spoiler alert. It's not that The View is only the first sign of the media's impending full-blown existential pandemic. For years, these traditional leftist publications have been veering into oblivion while holding their pearls and claiming it was progress. However, when no one is left to listen, even the loudest echo chamber finally begins to collapse in on itself. A revolving panel of millionaires posing as persecuted activists lecturing audiences is no longer acceptable, especially when their definition of bravery consists of slightly differing opinions.
Jackal, if you hate Kamala's cackle, according to The View's moo-moo-wearing mascot, Joy Behar, men are sexist if they're not a fan of Kamala's laugh, or funny women in general, especially if they're in bed. Roll it.
What really ticks me off about him, though, is this laughing Kamala remark. It's such a sexist remark because a guy I was with over the weekend, a friend of mine, they said Kamala's laugh annoys me. Remember they said that about Hillary's laugh, that she was cackling. And men, they don't like a funny woman. They're afraid if you laugh or you make a joke that maybe you'll do that when they're in bed with you.
Oh my.
Joy Behar in bed? Ooh. I thought cows slept standing up.
Furthermore, the figures are honest. Ratings have been plummeting, as seen by The View's recent revelation that the teleprompter had malfunctioned. Viewers are avoiding programs that provide every nuance of a stone through a window. Because you know what? People can detect pandering from a distance, and that smells worse than a Monday morning Whoopi Goldberg hot take. Greg Gutfeld and others are laughing all the way to the ratings chart on the opposing side of the media war. He remembered that the wheel works, not because he was inventing it. Instead of reprimanding audiences for their thoughts, use humor and sarcasm, and prepare yourself to mirror what they are thinking. Revolutionary, it seems. The fact that liberal media, which was previously so arrogant about its cultural supremacy, is now pleading with viewers not to switch channels while losing credibility, just serves to heighten the poetry of this. Additionally, they believed cancel culture to be a one-way weapon for years. Unfortunately, it turns out that it feels very different when the corporate suits begin to cancel you. This leads us to the last part in this story of reality TV gone awry. The View's imminent demise.
I thought that was a nice break from the normal chatter, right? Did you notice how the audience they couldn't tell the difference? Because generally it is a screaming match, and so you have the audience basically joining in. That stuff, it has a reverse effect. Like, it's making me more militant in my adherence to fossil fuels and to red meat. It's like I see that, I go, well, I'm going to just start eating a raw ribeye while driving a tractor trailer up a mountain of coal. Just like this the whole time. I'm not stopping. I'm coming for you, View. But you're right. It's all it's actually not right versus left. That's left versus left.
Disney's threat may not have been finalized yet, but it serves as a stark reminder that even the most impregnable fortifications of ideological nonsense can fail. Because really, what else can they do? They've tried the moral outrage route. The show will either have to drastically reinvent itself, which, let's face it, would require each co-host to develop a sense of self-awareness, and that's not covered by their health plan, or it will fade into irrelevance like a TikTok trend. Your mom just discovered. They have experimented with the phony intellectual armchair activism. They have even attempted to reframe yelling as discussion, but ultimately only yelling remains. The increasingly desperate, arm-flailing, ratings-chasing ranting of a show that once seemed untouchable, but who knows? Maybe if they shout loud enough.